What's up guys, how's it going? So we are back with the restaurant management series, and I know I've not been posting videos lately with all the series that I started. It's only because I was shifting my house, and my laptop and my charger and all the other things, they took a while to come, so I couldn't make any videos. Now it's back. Now I can create these videos. Now I can start everything back again. Again, apologies that I started these series and I was not able to completely finish them off. Anyhow, now I'll be more regular. I'll be able to upload videos very often because my house is set now. Sorry. So what I plan to do now in this video is I plan to finish token helper and auth middleware, and then all of our code is done, right? And the next videos onwards, we just have to debug. We just have to create builds, and we have to see where all the issues are. Then we just have to test the APIs. That's the only task that's left. All right. So all the heavy lifting will, all of that will be over in this video. So here with my package helper, now I need to complete my package helper. That's because in my user controller you can see that it doesn't recognize my package helper, and it's giving me all these squiggly lines and errors and all of those things, right? So here I want to import a couple of things, right? And I'll just leave it open for now. The most important thing that I need here is my signed details, which is a struct. And all these details basically are the details that I want the JWT token to have. So I want my email ID to be there. And by the way, you can freely refer to the code that I've shown you in the JWT authentication tutorial series. It's the same code that I'm using, right? So feel free to use it, feel free to refer to it. I'm doing the same, so I'm referring that same code, all right? So that there's consistency. I mean, I don't want to create something completely different in this case, because we're kind of building upon that knowledge that we already have, right, from that video. So then you have your UID, which is again string, and then you have your JWT dot standard claims, and now it's saying where's JWT, and now it's gotten the JWT on its own, which kind of seems right. I mean, I need it. Seems right to me. Just encloses in brackets. Okay, and now before I start writing these functions, right, I need access to my user collection. This is the standard thing that we've done in all the files. We've basically accessed that particular controller, that particular collection in that particular controller, right? So here in this case, we need the user collection, so which is mongo.collections, because you can tell MongoDB that this is the collection that I want you to look up in the data, and the user's data we're going to store in the user collection. So that's why. So we'll have open collection, and then we'll have database.client, comma, user, which is the name of the collection. All right. So as you can see, it's gotten the Mongo package for me automatically as well. It's also got the database for me. So everything seems to be working fine. And here, only thing that's left is I need to call this JWT, and then the squiggly line here also goes away. Okay. Now I need my secret key, so I'll say where secret key string is equal to os dot get environment secret key. Now it's completely optional. I mean, you can set secret key, or if you don't want to set secret key, you can skip it. It basically adds a layer of more security to your JWT token, because then the secret key is like completely unique to you and only you know it. So that's why it just kind of adds a level of security to your JWT token, right? And here I also need OS, but it'll be in small letters. So this squiggly line also goes away. Now comes the generate token, all tokens function. So here I'll create something called as claims, which will have signed details. For signed details, you need a couple of things like email, and also what I'll do is when we call this function, we need to pass all these things, right? So first thing I need to pass is email, then I need to pass first name, Need to pass last name, which should be string again, my UID, which is string. Now, this function generates tokens, right? So it's going to return a couple of things. What's going to return is going to return, as you already know, it's going to return the token and the refresh token. So the token, we're going to call it the signed token, which is going to be string, and refresh token, which is going to be string again. And if things go wrong, it might just send you the error. Okay. Again, make sure you've already seen the JWT authentication tutorial series and you have that code, and just try to stay consistent, because I'm trying to stay consistent with it. So in case you want to keep it open and you want to stay consistent with it, just make sure you're consistent, because we're kind of building up on that same knowledge. So claims is equal to ampersand sign details, referring the sign details here, the struct here. And the struct needs, as you know, it needs an email, right? It needs email, first name, last name. So it's an email, you'll say first name, you'll say last name, keep putting commas, and you obviously need your sorry UID, and you'll need standard claims, right? You need standard claims here, so we'll need to define that as well. So we'll say standard claims and JWT dot standard claims. So what's there in your standard claims? You basically, for now, I'm just going to use expires at, which will have the details on when the token needs to expire. So I'll say time.now.local.add. So it takes the time that's right now, and it's going to add something to it. It's going to add time.hour multiplied by time.duration, and going to say 24. Okay, and then we'll say .unix. So in 24 hours, we just want our token to expire, which is fine. I mean, that's you can have it much lesser. I mean, people sometimes keep it even 30 minutes, but since this is not like heavy production kind of an app that we're building right now, but if you want to take this into production, I think recommended time is 30 minutes. But since we're just building it as a test product right now, 24 hours is okay. Okay. And then you have email, first name will be first name, and then you have your last name, and UID is UID. So all of the things that you have received in this function. And then you put a comma here and the squiggly line goes away. Now it's asking you for the time package. Makes sense, you need the time package. Okay. So now the squiggly lines for the time package have also kind of gone away. Now here, after this, you've created your claims, but you also want to create your refresh claims. Again, we'll refer the signed details, and we'll say, sorry, the spelling of refresh is wrong. Yeah, so you'll say standard claims is JWT dot standard claims. Inside that, again, you'll have your expires. So you'll say expires at time.now.local, and you'll say .add. It's exactly the same as this. If you want to copy it till here, not a problem. And after that, you'll have Unix, put a comma there, and now inside add, you want to add something. You want to add the time. So in my case, like usually the refresh token should be around 24 hours. That's what I think, but you can keep it as much as you want right now. So for the purpose of this video only, I'm going to keep it a lot more. I'm going to keep it 168 but I wouldn't recommend it in a production grade application. Now that you have your claims and refresh claim setup, now is the time to start creating your token. So you'll say token comma error. You want to say JWT dot, and you will call the function in JWT library, which is new with claims. What do you pass? You pass your claims, obviously, that you just created. That's why there was a squiggly line here, because you had defined claims but you're not using it. So you obviously pass claims, but before that you'll also pass your utility dot signing method, which is HS256. Cool. Dot signed string byte, and you pass your secret key. In case you want to understand what this function does and what this function does, this basically is creating a new JWT token, right? That's all it does. But if you want to understand the inner workings of it and how these two functions are working, then you can open up the JWT library, the JWT Go documentation, and you'll understand it much better. But all you need to know otherwise is just that this is the JWT library that we're using, and these functions basically create a new token for you using the signing method HS256. Uses the claims. It's going to use this data to create the token for you, this data that you just defined, and it's going to also have this expires at information. And then you're also going to use your secret key that is completely optional, like I said. So like I said, you can read more about it in the JWT Go documentation, but I've kind of explained to you at a generic level what we're trying to do here. So usually, you can do this as well. Usually I keep the JWT GOLANG documentation, all these different documentations of the libraries that I'll be using. I keep them open in a tab, in different tabs, so I can just keep going between them. It's basically good to keep reading these documentation, because they keep adding new functions, they keep changing the functions, they keep changing the variables in the functions. So even what I'm teaching you right now, the code that you have right now, it might change based on these libraries, right? The new versions of these libraries keep coming up. So it's a good practice to always be in the habit of reading these libraries. Even when you're learning from me, maybe you're learning 3 months down the line or 6 months down the line, but my video is old. You can just, and the libraries have changed, probably you're using a different version. It's a good practice to keep checking the documentation. I always do that and try and follow the latest documentation, all right? So we'll say refresh token, comma, error is equal to JWT, the same thing, new with claims, right? New with claims. And you'll pass your JWT dot signing method, and here you get a list of all the methods anyways. So I'll select from here instead of typing it on my own, and instead of claims I want to pass here refresh claims dot signed string. Inside string you'll say the same thing. You'll say byte, and you'll pass your secret key. Okay, so you have your token and refresh token now. Okay, and what you want to do is you want to check for these errors. So if error is not equal to nil, you log.panic and you'll show the error, otherwise you'll turn. Now for log, it's giving me a squiggly line. That means it needs the log library, log package. So that's gone now. And token, refresh token, it's giving me a line there because I've not used these yet. I've not used the tokens yet. So if I say return token, comma, refresh token, comma, error, now at least that issue should go away. Yeah, so token, the squiggly line has gone away, but we're still getting a squiggly line here. So let's find out what's the issue. Okay, firstly, let me remove this from here. And there's one more installed, I don't know why. this is the right DWDGO package that I need. So I know where the issue is. If you hover over it, it says no new variables on the left side of the walrus character, right? And that means that GOLANG is saying that this variable has already been used and there's nothing new that I'm seeing here. Makes sense. It's because you have to call this signed refresh token, not just refresh token. Okay, so you'll have to say signed refresh token. And now you see suddenly the issue goes away. All right. So now we'll head over to our update all tokens. To update token, we'll say signed token, which is string, signed refresh token, which is again string, and user ID, which is string again. And here we'll say var cdx comma cancel is equal to context. We have not imported the context package, so it'll give us a little bit of issues with timeout. And we'll pass context.background comma 100 seconds. And we'll create an updated object. So we'll say update object. It's of type primitive.d. And that means you need the primitive MongoDB primitive package here, which it already installed for us. And I need a couple of more packages, so I'm just going to go ahead and get them on my own. So I'll say go.mongodb. I prefer, even if I have all these plugins, I prefer getting these packages on my own all the time. It's because most of the time these extensions, they get me the wrong packages, as you must have seen during the course of this video, of the series at least. The extensions kept getting the wrong packages for me, and that led to a lot of errors. So mostly I delete these extensions or I don't use them at all. But then a lot of people on my YouTube, they keep commenting, hey, why don't you use extensions? So I just sometimes install them. So it's in this particular video, I've installed those extensions. I hate using them, but just so that everybody's comfortable, I'm using them. So we'll say mongo /driver /pson. And you want to create in the update object, you'll have your signed token and your refresh token. So you'll say we use append method. We'll say update object comma pson.e token comma signed token, and update object. So here it will be update object is equal to update object is equal to append update object comma pson.e refresh token signed refresh token. The other things that you need is you also need the updated at timestamp. So you'll say updated underscore at comma blank character and walrus dot parse time dot rfc 3339 comma time dot now dot format time dot rfc 3339. So once you update all the tokens, you also update the timestamp saying that this is when it was updated, just for your reference so that you know when the tokens were updated. Okay, and you also append now you want to append this this variable that you've created, right? So you'll say update object is equal to append update object comma pson.e, and it's updated underscore at comma update underscore at. Cool. So context, it has, I think, yeah, it's installed context on its own, so we don't need to do that. But it's giving me squiggly lines for CTX and cancel because I've not used them yet. And here I'll say upsert equal to true, and we'll use filter. Just the very standard update method that we've used in all the other controllers. We're doing the same thing, right? We've used upsert, we've used filter, and for filter we'll say vson.m user underscore ID, user ID, and we'll add some options. So options dot update options upsert ampersand upsert. Put a comma here. So you've created your filter, you've created your options, and now you want to call the update one function, but it's there in your user collection. So in your user collection, you'll call this function, and in the update one function, this might return something and it might return an error. So we're more interested in handling that error because we don't, whatever this returns, we don't want to do anything with that. So that's why I've put a blank character there. Okay. And you pass context to it, you pass filter to it, you pass vson.d and $set, comma, update object. You want to send the update object. Put a comma here so that the squiggly line goes away. Put a comma here as well. And here you'll say ampersand options. You'll pass the options. It's giving you a squiggly line here because you've not handled the error yet. But first, I'll defer cancel. So the squiggly line from cancel goes away. And now I'll handle the error. So I'll say error not equal to nil. Log.panic error and return. And at the end also you'll return. So that's your entire function, right? Here there's a squiggly line here, and that's because it should have a capital U. In your update options, you have to use capital U. So I'll just go over it again so that just to make sure everything makes sense and everything is, there's no issues anywhere. Yeah, everything looks okay to me for now. And we'll obviously come back in case there's any issues. Yeah, everything is, I think seems to be all right. So now only the last function is left on this file. It's called the validate token function. So the validate token function, it basically takes in the token, right? And you want to validate it. And how do you want to validate it? There are two things that you're going to check, right? One, if the token is invalid, and if the token is expired. These two things you'll check. And how do you do that basically, right? So to do that, we get a function from the JWT library. It's called as the parse with claims. And in this function, the validate token function, you have to pass your token, right? That's how you're going to check all this. Sign token, it's string. What you get back is claims, which is of type sign details, and you get back a message. Message will basically have your error and, like if the token is expired or token is valid, that kind of stuff. That will be your message. So this function, it takes in a couple of things. And after we've been through the motions with that function, what you want to do is you want to see the token, and then you want to check the claims, and you want to compare that with the signed details, and you'll get the claims, and you'll also get OK, as in if everything is OK with the signed details of the token. If everything is not OK, then you will create a message saying fmt dot printf the token is invalid. So basically this part, right? So I'm just going to cut this comment here and put it here. Okay, and message will be error.error, and you'll return from this function. And for the claims, you can also check the token expired part. So you'll just cut and paste it here. He'll say claims dot expires at less than time dot now dot local dot unix. Then you'll have msg is equal to fmp dot sprintf, and the token is expired, and message error dot error return, and here you'll have return claims comma message. Okay. So this FMT package, I think we didn't have it. Yeah, it's installed for us automatically. Okay. So now this function, right? The function passed with claims with the JWT. You can check out the Go JWT package, and you'll find this documentation there for this function. And it takes in three things. It takes in your signed token, which you're going to pass into this function. It takes the signed details. Okay. And it takes in a function, which takes in the token of type jwt.token. It returns an interface basically, or it returns an error. And you're basically returning your secret key or nil for the error. Okay, put a comma here, and here you'll get basically the token, comma, error. Sorry. Now the only issue is with the expires at, and I don't know why it's giving me a squiggly line like this, but everything else seems to be okay. Everything else seems to be all right, because I've already used expires at everywhere, so I'm not getting why it's giving me a squiggly line out here. Okay, so in case you're getting an error like me out here at expires at, don't worry, we'll handle it in the next video. Since we have less time in this video, I want to finish the auth middleware function completely, and then the next videos are going to be all about bug bashing and fixing things and testing the APIs anyways, right? So just park it, don't worry about it, park it on the side, and open up your auth middleware, and let's start working on this function quickly. Okay, it's not going to be a very complex function. So you'll have your client token c.request.header.get token, right? So we're just basically writing the entire authentication logic in this function, all right? And you want to check if the client token is empty. If there's no token passed, then obviously it's an issue, right? And you'll have to have double is equal to sign, obviously, because you want to compare the values. So here you'll say c.json http dot status internal server error comma gen.h, and the error is going to be fmt.sprintf, and you're just going to write no authentication token provided. Okay, so you'll say no authorization header provided. basically your token is nil, so that's why you're saying that. And you're going to abort, so you'll say c dot abort. Okay, c being your gen.context, and you'll just return from this function. Now you want to get your hands on the claims, so you'll say claims comma error is equal to helper dot validate token. So we just created that function, right? Validate token function. And here you'll pass the token, the client token, which is basically in your request. So the request is basically what the user sends to the API, right? That's the request. And in that header, you'll set the token. So whenever you call your APIs from your Postman, you'd probably have seen that you set your header with the token. So that's what we're checking, and then we're capturing that value in this variable called client token. I'm sure, I mean, you guys have been following me for quite some time, so I don't need to explain all this to you, but I'm just making sure that, you know, everything makes sense. So by mistake, I didn't get with small g. You just have to make it capital G, and the squiggly line, if you're getting there, it'll go away. And here we want to now handle this error that we might get on this line, right? So if error is not empty, you want to say c.json http dot status internal server error comma gen.h error okay, and you want to close this bracket from here. Now there's only one squiggly line for the claims because we've not used the word claims as of now, but here we'll say c.abort, and then again the same format we'll return from here. Now you want to set c.set, you want to set everything, you want to set the email, claims.email. So you already know, and that's why I created a token helper before, so you already know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about this email here in the sign details and first name, last name. So in the context, you want to set email, you want to set the first name, which is going to be claims dot first name. You want to set last name, claims dot last underscore name, and c dot set uid comma claims dot uid. Obviously there's a capital U here, so that's why we're getting a squiggly line. So all of this needs to be consistent with this, right? Email, first name, last name, and UID. And you'll set c dot next. So your auth middleware file is complete. You don't see any errors here. The only issues that I'm seeing right now are with the user controller file and with the token helper file, right? You see two issues. One is with this package. So have we not installed this package? I think, yeah, that's the reason. I think we've not installed this package yet. That's why we get this error issue here. And otherwise, the only other issue is that expires at issue, right? So it says type sign details has no field or method expires at. No issues. We'll handle all the issues in the next video. And trust me, we'll have hundreds and hundreds of more issues. Once we build this entire project, we'll have a lot of issues and we'll solve them, not an issue, right? And then we'll test our APIs and then everything will hopefully work fine. So if you've reached till here, congrats. It's a huge journey. It's a big journey. We've created quite a big project, right? So many controllers, so many models, routes, and middleware, and helpers, all of that. And I'll see you in the next video. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.